the tilt attachment and we cleared out a gully coming this way. This is the low spot. I don't see any water coming from a spring, but this is definitely very soft, so there's still a lot of water coming through here, even though we haven't had rain in 2 weeks. It's very soft. So I've got a bit of a gully that comes to this low point. I know it's really hard to tell on the camera. The camera's level, the ground is not. It'll then wash this way that heads down to a creek. Well, I'm going to take the skid steer and the tilt attachment, and I'm going to try and put a gully along this high side here that will also come to here and then drain this way, and eventually we'll put in a culvert. So again, the plan is a gully along here. I'll just get in the skid steer, turn around, and I'll work towards the camera. Hope it works. So the angle is really critical in using this tilt attachment, and I still think the cables are installed backwards, because when I push the auxiliary hydraulics one direction, it goes in the opposite, the bucket goes in the opposite direction. So I think the hoses are crossed. But you know, basically here I'm trying to get the right left to right tilt, and also the correct forward and backward tilt, so that the front of the bucket is doing the digging. If you have the bucket tilted back towards the cab, the heel of the bucket actually contacts the earth first, and you're actually not going to scrape anything. So you do have to kind of get it adjusted, and the bucket just is too short to see the leading edge very easily. Even if I get way up in the seat, I can hardly see it. I do need to fill in a little bit here on the right hand side of your screen. This is where some of the erosion has taken place already, and it makes it a little too narrow. So I'm kind of gonna put some dirt way back in a pile that will eventually mulch and hopefully try and turn into earth. And some of this is gonna go to fill in a low spot there on the right hand side of your screen. So again, setting the right degree of tilt and bucket tilt and left to right tilt is critical. But once you've got it, I'm very impressed with this attachment. One thing I did find is that really I'm trying to solve two problems at once here. Partially regrading the road and then also working on the ditch. And I think in future videos I'll do this a little more smart, meaning really set the grade for the road, get that all cleaned up, and then put in the gully, because I'm having to turn the bucket at such an angle, it just is very difficult to maneuver. So in the future, I would highly recommend get the road to the grade you want for the section that you're working on, then put in the ditch, and then repeat, so maybe doing 200 or 300 feet at a time, and then set your ditch. So lessons learned. I'm getting better at it little by little. I wanted to get a little view from the inside. I apologize, this still is not necessarily the greatest image for showing how the bucket looks from the inside. The camera's a little bit low compared to my eye, but it does give you some idea that you can see the bucket edge at sometimes, but when you really tip it over and you've got the angle going, you cannot see the end of the bucket. So a bucket with a longer bottom would make doing some of this work easier. So lessons to be learned. I still like the tilt attachment. Got a lot more hours to put on it before I give it the final okay, but it's showing very promising results. And if I could just see the edge of the bucket from the seat a bit better when I'm trying to set the forward and backward pitch and the left to right pitch, it would be so much easier. And part of it is experience. I'm still new. This is my first year running it, but very promising results so far. appreciate you watching and seeing my mistakes. For those of you who comment and help me, I do appreciate those too. And if you could subscribe, not asking you to turn on that bell that rings and notifies you, I find those annoying. But if you could subscribe and watch occasionally and give me some good tips, I'd appreciate it. Have a great day. Making good progress, and I'm learning a little bit more each time I use it. Every pass gets a little bit better. Again, it just takes time in the machine to get better at both excavating and using a new attachment, but it's going all right so far. That's about it for today, for today's video. Appreciate you watching. I appreciate it if you'd subscribe. Don't bother hitting the bell. I know those are annoying. Thanks for watching.